Hook. Imagine building your dream life on a foundation of sand. Everything you do, every effort you put in, just slips away when life's storms hit. This is what most people do. They hustle, they grind, but they never stop to ask themselves, what am I really building? Welcome to American Wall Street. Today, we're diving deep into the first rule that most people ignore, but it's the only thing that truly sets you free. It's the secret that transforms your life from chaos to control, and I'm about to reveal it. Stick with me till the end. This might just change the way you see your world forever. The foundation of your life is the key to everything. It's not enough to work hard. It's about working with purpose, with structure. Without a solid foundation, all your effort is meaningless. Think about it. Would you ever start building a house without a blueprint? Of course not. But that's exactly how most people live their lives. They wake up, go through the motions, do what's expected of them, but never pause to think, what am I really building here? The reality is, life doesn't care about your efforts if they're not backed by structure. Effort without direction is wasted. It's like rowing a boat in circles. You're exerting all your energy, but you're not moving forward. And when storms hit, everything you've worked so hard for comes crashing down. No matter how much you hustle, it's the blueprint that matters. This is why the first rule for a life that works is simple, yet incredibly powerful. Take full responsibility. Until you fully embrace this, nothing in your life will change. It's easy to blame external factors, your job, your boss, the economy, your upbringing, but as long as you point the finger outward, the power is out of your hands. The truth is, the moment you take full responsibility for your life, you gain control. You stop waiting for things to change and start making them change. Let's say you lose your job. One person might spend months complaining, blaming the company or the economy for their situation. But another person will take a week to reflect, learn from the experience, and then ask themselves, what can I do next? The first person remains stuck in the story, while the second rewrites it. This isn't about blaming yourself for everything that happens. It's about realizing that you always have the power to choose your response. Life won't always go your way, but the one thing you can control is how you respond. The moment you say, I'm responsible, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start being the architect of your life. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you have to do everything on your own. It's not about blaming yourself for every mistake. It's about accepting that you have the power to choose your actions, to decide how you react, and to create your own future. And when you do this, everything changes. This is where freedom begins. As long as you're blaming others for your circumstances, you're a passenger on your own journey. But when you step up, take responsibility, and say, I control my fate, you become the driver. No one else can take the wheel of your life without your permission. So, how do you start building this foundation? The first step is simple. Take 100% responsibility. Don't wait for circumstances to improve before you do. Nothing improves until you improve. This might not sound glamorous, but it's the only way to create lasting change. It's time to stop waiting for external forces to shift and start shaping your own life. Before we move forward, I need your help. Subscribe to American Wall Street now so you can keep receiving life-changing insights and continue building the life you deserve. Your support means the world to us, and it keeps us motivated to bring you more videos that truly make a difference. Now, let's dive deeper. Here's a question for you to reflect on. What holds you back the most in life? A. External circumstances, the economy, family, environment. B. Internal resistance, lack of discipline, fear, self-doubt. Comment your answer below with A or B, and let's start a conversation about what's truly limiting your growth. Your insight matters, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Define what works for you. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of life, to be swept away by the pressures, the expectations, the obligations. We wake up every day, pushing through tasks, responding to demands, and barely giving ourselves a moment to ask, what is it that I truly want from life? Most of us are so busy fulfilling everyone else's definition of success that we never stop to define success on our own terms. The second rule for a life that works is the absolute necessity of defining what works means to you. Without a clear vision of what a meaningful and fulfilling life looks like, we risk drifting through existence. Without definition, life becomes an endless reaction to the world around us. fighting through bills, messages, meetings, and endless noise, but never moving towards something intentional, something deeply personal. Life becomes a series of obligations, and before you know it, you've built someone else's dream, not your own. What does success look like for you? Is it the bigger house, the fancier car, the promotion, the applause of others? Many chase these societal markers of success, only to find themselves tired, restless, and unfulfilled. These external measures of achievement often turn out to be hollow. We invest years of our lives in a dream that isn't ours, only to look around one day and wonder why we feel so empty. The applause fades, the recognition wanes, and in the silence, we're left with the truth. This isn't my dream. To live a life that works, you must first design it. Define your vision. What is it that truly brings you fulfillment? Is it peace of mind, deep relationships, meaningful work, or a constant sense of growth? Perhaps wealth is important to you, but not at the cost of your happiness. Defining what works for you is not about fitting into someone else's mold. It's about clarity. It's about knowing what resonates with your soul, not what society expects you to chase. Once you've defined it, you have to protect it. The world is noisy. It will bombard you with its version of success. New gadgets, new trends, promises of happiness in things, in experiences, in status. But happiness doesn't come from more. It comes from meaning, and meaning comes from clarity. When you know exactly what matters most to you, the constant pull of external distractions fades. You can say no to what doesn't serve your true purpose and say yes to what aligns with your values. Life is short, and time is your most precious resource. To waste it on things that don't bring you closer to your own vision is to live in a constant state of regret. Define what works for you, and then every decision, every action can be measured against that definition. Every choice becomes clearer. The right path becomes unmistakable. This clarity is the foundation of improvement. You can't fix what you haven't defined. Think about it. If you don't know where you're going, how can you know when you've arrived? But when you define what works for you, you set a clear destination, and then you can create a roadmap to get there. This gives your life direction, purpose, and an unwavering sense of alignment. Every day becomes an opportunity to move closer to your own vision of success, not the fleeting standards set by the world around you. But defining what works is not enough on its own. It requires action. It requires commitment. It requires the discipline to protect your vision from the noise of everyday life. And as you begin to live according to your definition of success, you'll find that the world around you begins to shift. Opportunities that were once invisible appear, and the things that once distracted you lose their hold. Living a life that works is not about following someone else's script. It's about understanding what resonates with you on the deepest level, what aligns with your values, and then living with the courage to pursue that path unapologetically. It's not about achieving the same success others have, but about creating your own version, one that brings peace, joy, and fulfillment to your life. The question is, what does your version of success look like? Until you define it, you'll be caught in the tide, pulled in countless directions. But once you do, your life becomes a focused pursuit, and every action is an investment in that vision. It's time to stop living for someone else's dream and start living for your own. Define what works for you, and everything else will fall into place. Master time. Time is the one thing in life we cannot control, and yet it's the most valuable resource we have. It is the great equalizer. Each of us, no matter our background, our wealth, or our status, is given the same 24 hours in a day. So why is it that some people seem to accomplish more in a single day than others do in a week, a month, or even a year? The answer lies not in the amount of time we have, but in how we use it. To master time is not about managing the hours. It's about mastering the choices we make during those hours. Time management isn't about fitting more into your day. It's about getting the most important things done. Most people, even those with the best of intentions, end up overwhelmed because they spend their days reacting to what's in front of them. They wake up late, rush through breakfast, respond to emails and texts, and fight fires, thinking they're being productive. But in reality, they're just busy. Being busy is not the same as being productive. Here's the harsh truth. If time is running you, you will always feel behind, even on your best days. You'll keep saying, I don't have enough time, and you'll find yourself playing catch up every step of the way. But the key is not in having more time, it's in knowing how to prioritize. Time management is really about priority management. What are you doing with the time you have? What truly deserves your best energy, your full focus? Too often, we let life dictate our schedule. We let external demands, meetings, emails, urgent requests set the tone for our day. But when we fail to control our time, we fail to control our life. To truly master time, we must become intentional with it. This means designing your day, not just reacting to it. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do? Are you starting your day with purpose, or are you diving straight into the chaos? How you begin your day is crucial. It sets the tone for everything that follows. The first few hours of your day are the most important, and they often decide the direction of the rest of your day. If you spend those first moments in a rush, your mind will remain cluttered and you'll feel behind before you even begin. But if you start your day with intention, planning what matters most, you set yourself up for success. Mastering time means being proactive, not reactive. It's about deciding, before the distractions come, what deserves your focus. It means making time for what truly matters, your health, your growth, your relationships, your goals, and not letting the noise of the world steal those precious hours away. The key question you must ask yourself every day is this: am I spending my time in a way that aligns with my values and my vision? If the answer is no, then you need to take action to shift your priorities. When you master time, you stop being a slave to your to-do list. You stop rushing through your days, feeling overwhelmed and unaccomplished. Instead, you start creating space for the things that truly matter. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that more time equals more success. But that's not the case. Time doesn't guarantee progress. Intentionality does. You could spend a day running around doing 100 different things, but if none of them align with your vision, they're just distractions. On the other hand, if you choose to focus on one important task, one step toward your goals, you've already won the day. Time is currency, and it's up to you how you spend it. You can waste it, invest it, or spend it carelessly, but once it's gone, it's gone. Time is finite. Every hour you waste is an hour you'll never get back. So stop wasting your best hours on trivial tasks. Protect your time like it's treasure. Start designing your day around your priorities. Schedule your most important tasks first, and don't let the small things derail you. Set clear boundaries for your time. Learn to say no to what doesn't serve your goals. And remember, it's not about getting more done. It's about doing the right things. Mastering time doesn't just change what you accomplish, it changes who you become. When you manage your time effectively, you feel in control. You make decisions based on purpose, not on urgency. You create space for growth, for learning, for the things that matter most. And that's what makes a life that works. The question you need to ask yourself now is, are you in control of your time, or is time controlling you? It's time to take back the reins. Guard the mind. The mind is the control tower of your life. Everything begins there. Your results, your habits, your attitude, all of it starts with a thought. If you want to transform your life, you must first transform your mind. The way you think determines how you act, and how you act shapes the life you live. But far too often, we leave our minds unguarded, allowing negative thoughts, distractions, and outside influences to shape our reality. We wonder why we feel lost, overwhelmed, or stagnant. Because our minds are like open doors, and we let anything in. Guarding the mind isn't just about protecting it from external negativity. It's about cultivating mental strength and discipline. It's about deciding what enters your mind, and just as importantly, what stays. The mind is like a garden. What you plant in it, what you water and nurture will grow. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, those weeds will overtake your garden. But if you plant seeds of wisdom, truth, and inspiration, you will cultivate a flourishing mind that will give you the clarity, confidence, and calm needed to navigate life's challenges. Every day, your mind is bombarded with inputs. The news, social media, conversations, advertisements, all pushing their version of reality. They tell you what to think, what to buy, how to feel. But you have the power to choose what you allow into your mind. The question is, are you being deliberate about what you feed your mind? If you constantly expose yourself to negativity, to gossip, to fear-mongering, your mind will naturally reflect that. You will live in a state of anxiety, self-doubt, and confusion. But if you feed your mind with positive, empowering content, books, inspiring podcasts, wise mentors, you will create a mental environment that allows you to grow, to think clearly, and to act decisively. Many people spend more time protecting their money than their minds. They guard their bank accounts, their possessions, and their reputations, but leave their minds exposed. But here's the truth. Your thoughts determine your actions, and your actions determine your life. If you let your thoughts be polluted, your actions will follow suit, and the life you build will be a reflection of those polluted thoughts. Guarding your mind takes discipline. It means choosing not to engage with the noise of the world. It means turning off the television, unfollowing the people who bring you down, and saying no to the endless cycle of distractions that keep you from your purpose. It's about protecting your mental space from the constant barrage of information that doesn't serve you. When you guard your mind, you create a filter that allows only what is valuable and empowering to pass through. This isn't just about avoiding negativity. It's also about nurturing a mindset that allows you to grow. A healthy, protected mind is a fertile ground for new ideas, creativity, and problem solving. It gives you the strength to overcome challenges and the clarity to see opportunities where others see obstacles. When you feed your mind with the right information, you expand your capacity for growth. You stretch your thinking, challenge your assumptions, and elevate your standards. But the mind isn't just about consuming content, it's about reflection too. What you think shapes how you act, and what you act on shapes your life. To guard your mind, you must regularly reflect on your thoughts, your beliefs, and your habits. Are they aligned with your vision? Are they serving your highest good? If not, it's time to shift your thinking. It's time to choose new thoughts that align with your goals, your values, and your mission. This takes honesty. It takes humility. It takes the courage to confront the parts of yourself that need to change. The quality of your thoughts will determine the quality of your life. If you fill your mind with negativity and self-doubt, you will constantly feel stuck, unsure, and unworthy. But if you fill your mind with optimism, possibility, and belief in yourself, you will begin to see opportunities everywhere. You will begin to take action with confidence and clarity. Your life will change, not because the world around you changed, but because you changed the way you see the world. Guard your mind like the precious resource it is. It is the foundation of everything you do. What you think shapes who you become. So protect your mind, nurture it, and feed it only with the things that help you grow. When you do, your life will reflect that protection. It will become a life of purpose, clarity, and strength. A life that works. Build systems, not goals. The world tells us to chase goals. We are constantly bombarded with messages about setting big, audacious targets, losing weight, making millions, achieving fame, and then working tirelessly to reach them. The idea is seductive. If we just push hard enough, if we set clear enough goals, if we stay motivated long enough, success will inevitably follow. But here's the truth that no one talks about. Goals are important, but systems are what make them achievable. Goals are like the destination on a map, but systems are the roads that take you there. Without a well-defined system, goals remain distant dreams. When we focus too much on the goal itself, we put all our energy into an endpoint that may or may not ever come. We become fixated on the result rather than the process, and in doing so, we set ourselves up for frustration. Motivation alone won't get you there. Motivation is fleeting, like a burst of energy that quickly fades. Systems, on the other hand, are reliable. They don't depend on how you feel today or whether you're in the mood. Systems are sustainable, predictable, and essential for long-term success. Consider the goal of running a marathon. Simply setting the goal to complete it isn't enough to get you across the finish line. You can dream of crossing that line all you want, but if you don't have a system, like training daily, following a diet plan, building endurance gradually, you'll never make it. The goal provides direction, but the system is what carries you forward, step by step. The same principle applies to every area of life. Whether it's your health, your finances, or your career, success doesn't come from simply wishing for it. It comes from creating a system that consistently moves you toward that goal, no matter the obstacles that arise. Here's where most people go wrong. They rely too heavily on motivation and excitement. They set a goal, they feel inspired for a moment, but then when the initial spark fades, so does their drive. They haven't built a system that holds them accountable or keeps them on track. As a result, they fall back into old habits, lose focus, and quit when things get tough. The problem isn't the goal. The problem is the lack of a consistent, structured approach to achieving it. A well-designed system takes the decision-making out of the equation. When you rely on willpower to get things done, you're fighting an uphill battle. Willpower is finite. But when you build a system, you're creating a routine, something that's automatic, something you don't have to think about. Your actions become habits, and your habits become the building blocks of your success. You no longer have to rely on motivation or discipline to keep going. Your system will carry you through even on the days when you feel like quitting. Take health, for example. If your goal is to lose weight, the system isn't just about eating less or exercising more. It's about creating daily habits, planning your meals, scheduling your workouts, tracking your progress, and making those actions a non-negotiable part of your routine. When you build a system around healthy living, it becomes easier. You don't have to fight your way through every decision. You've already set yourself up for success. This idea applies to every aspect of life, but it's especially important when it comes to personal growth. If your goal is to read more books, the system isn't just about deciding to read. It's about making time for it, creating a reading environment, setting a specific goal, like reading for 30 minutes every morning, and gradually increasing your reading time as it becomes a habit. The system doesn't allow for excuses. It forces you to show up day after day, even when motivation wanes. Building systems is about turning actions into habits that become so ingrained in your life that they no longer feel like a chore. The key to success is not about pushing harder when things get tough, but about making the right actions a part of your daily life. When you design your life around systems, you stop relying on bursts of motivation and instead create steady, incremental progress toward your goals. In the end, it's not about the size of your goals, it's about the consistency of your actions. A goal without a system is just a dream, but a goal with a system is a plan. And a plan, followed day by day, step by step, leads to lasting success. Focus on building systems, and the results will follow. The beauty of a system is that it frees you from the pressure of perfection. It doesn't matter if you have a bad day, because tomorrow you will get back on track. When your actions are guided by a system, you have the power to create success, no matter the circumstances. Stay accountable to standards. Life has a way of testing us. It throws challenges, distractions, and obstacles in our path, tempting us to compromise, to take shortcuts, to lower our standards just a little. But true success, the kind that lasts, isn't built on fleeting moments of motivation or on giving in to comfort. It's built on unwavering standards, on a commitment to doing what's right, not just what's easy. The sixth rule for a life that works is to stay accountable to your standards. Standards are the invisible guidelines that govern your behavior, your choices, and ultimately, your life. They are the non-negotiable principles you live by, the values you refuse to compromise, and the benchmarks you set to measure your actions against. These standards become your personal code of conduct, and when you live by them, your life becomes more intentional, more focused, and more purposeful. Most people, however, live by their emotions, doing what they feel like doing in the moment. They respond to life based on how they're feeling, whether they're motivated, whether they're in the mood. The problem with this approach is that feelings are unpredictable. One day, you're inspired and eager to work, but the next, you're tired, distracted, or discouraged. If your actions depend on how you feel, you'll never build anything substantial. Consistency is the key to progress, and consistency comes from living by standards, not emotions. When you live by standards, you measure your actions against something higher than your fleeting feelings. Your standards don't change based on your mood or the situation. They're set in stone, and you hold yourself accountable to them, no matter what. If your standard is to be healthy, it doesn't matter if you're tired or stressed. You make time for exercise and healthy meals. If your standard is integrity, you don't compromise your values for convenience. You act with honesty and transparency, even when no one is watching. But setting standards is only part of the equation. You must hold yourself accountable to them. Accountability is the bridge between intention and action. Without accountability, your standards become ideals, not practices. Holding yourself accountable means reviewing your actions regularly, reflecting on whether you've met the standards you've set for yourself. It means having the courage to confront your mistakes and learn from them, rather than brushing them under the rug or making excuses. Accountability also means being honest with yourself. It's easy to convince ourselves that we're doing enough or that we're meeting our goals when, in reality, we're falling short. It's easy to blame circumstances or external factors for our lack of progress, but when you hold yourself accountable, you stop making excuses. You acknowledge where you've fallen short, take responsibility, and adjust your approach. This level of honesty is uncomfortable at first, but it's also the key to growth. The people who thrive in life are not necessarily the most talented or the luckiest. They are the ones who are consistent in living up to their standards. They don't wait for motivation to strike. They don't give in to the temptation of cutting corners. They act on their standards, regardless of how they feel in the moment. And because of this consistency, their results accumulate over time. Living by standards also frees you from the tyranny of external validation. When you live according to your own standards, you stop seeking approval from others. You stop comparing yourself to others and measuring your worth based on someone else's definition of success. Instead, you become your own judge. You know what you stand for, and you act according to those principles, regardless of what anyone else thinks. But here's the real beauty of holding yourself to high standards. It doesn't just change your actions, it transforms who you are. The more you hold yourself accountable to your values, the more you grow into the person you aspire to be. Your confidence builds as you prove to yourself that you can be trusted to follow through on your promises. Your self-respect grows as you honor your commitments, even when it's difficult. And over time, your standards elevate your life in ways you never thought possible. Ultimately, living by standards is what separates the amateurs from the professionals. Amateurs wait for the right mood, the right conditions, or the right amount of motivation. Professionals act on their standards, regardless of the circumstances. And it's through this consistency that they build mastery and success. If you want to live a life that works, you must hold yourself accountable to the standards you set. You cannot afford to compromise. Your standards will define you. And when you stay accountable to them, you'll find that your life begins to align with your deepest values and desires. You will no longer wonder if you're doing enough because you will know that every day you are living with intention, purpose, and integrity. That is a life that works. Keep growth as the mission. Life is not meant to stay still. It's meant to expand, evolve, and push boundaries. But the unfortunate truth is that many of us hit a certain level of comfort, a plateau in our lives, and we stop growing. We get complacent. We think, I've made it, and then we coast, allowing ourselves to settle for the status quo. That's when life begins to shrink. The moment you stop growing is the moment you start dying, metaphorically, of course. Growth is the antidote to stagnation. It's the force that keeps us engaged, alive, and constantly striving for more. But growth doesn't come without discomfort. It's not always easy or fun, and it often requires us to step outside of our comfort zones. It's about doing the hard work when no one is watching, pushing yourself when the world around you is content with mediocrity. Growth is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong pursuit. The key is to make growth your mission, to center it in everything you do. When you focus on growth, your mindset shifts. You stop viewing obstacles as setbacks and start seeing them as opportunities for expansion. Every failure becomes a lesson, every mistake a stepping stone to something greater. When you are focused on growing, nothing can hold you back. Challenges are no longer feared, they are embraced. They are seen for what they are, catalysts for personal and professional development. But growth is not automatic. It requires intention. It requires a decision to keep pushing, to keep learning, to keep evolving, even when it's hard. It requires the humility to accept that there's always more to learn and the courage to step into the unknown, to face new challenges. This means not only learning from your experiences, but also seeking out new experiences that force you to grow. Most people resist growth because it's uncomfortable. It forces them to confront their limitations, to admit that they don't have all the answers, to embrace the uncertainty of change. But this discomfort is exactly what drives progress. Growth often comes through pain. Muscles grow stronger by tearing, and so does character. The pain of growth is temporary, but the rewards are lasting. The person you become in the process of growing is infinitely more valuable than the comfort you seek in the moment. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. And that's the dangerous part. When you're not actively striving for growth, life tends to shrink around you. Opportunities pass you by, your skills atrophy, your ambitions fade. You begin to lose the fire that once drove you. This is the trap that many people fall into. They think that once they achieve a certain level of success, they can stop. They believe that growth is something to be pursued only in the beginning stages of life or career. But in reality, growth is the continuous engine that fuels everything. Make growth your mission in life. When you commit to growth, you commit to a life of constant improvement and self-discovery. You set the stage for a life filled with excitement, challenge, and endless possibilities. Instead of coasting, you're driving yourself forward, expanding your capabilities, your knowledge, and your potential every single day. It's about never settling for where you are, but always striving for where you could be. It's about making progress, even in the smallest ways, and never allowing complacency to take root. To keep growth as the mission is to embrace the journey of becoming. It's about recognizing that who you are today is not the end of the story. It's just one chapter. There is always more to learn, more to do, more to give. This mindset shifts everything. It shifts your approach to every challenge, every setback, every moment of doubt. It allows you to see the world as a canvas, waiting for you to create your masterpiece, knowing that every stroke, every step brings you closer to who you are meant to become. Growth isn't something that happens to you. It's something you make happen. It's a choice, a decision to be better today than you were yesterday, to keep pushing forward, no matter the obstacles. And when you keep growth as the mission, you unlock the true potential of your life. It's in the pursuit of growth that you find meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. So make it your mission, and the rewards will be limitless. In life, we are all architects of our own destiny. The foundation you build upon, the standards you set, and the growth you relentlessly pursue will determine the course of your life. Success isn't just about achieving external goals. It's about creating an internal structure that supports long-term fulfillment and growth. By taking full responsibility for your actions, defining what truly works for you, mastering your time, protecting your mind, and building consistent systems, you empower yourself to create a life that works. The most profound lesson here is that growth is a lifelong commitment. Success doesn't come from reaching a final destination. It comes from constantly evolving, learning, and pushing yourself to be better every day. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get distracted, but true growth happens when we stay committed to progress, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. If you don't make growth your mission, life will have a way of stagnating. But when you embrace growth as part of your daily routine, your life will move forward with purpose and momentum. Lesson for life. Start by taking responsibility for where you are today. From there, commit to continuous improvement, focus on building systems, and hold yourself to the highest standards. Don't wait for things to change. Make them happen. Question for you. What is one area of your life where you want to see growth? And what steps will you take to start today? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's inspire each other. If you found this valuable, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay motivated and inspired for more powerful content.